What's going on, guys? Let me get this up a bit more. So, hold on. Check this one more time. All right, we're ready to go. So, how's it going, everybody? I just wanted to say hi. Try something new today. Today, we are going to talk about a story of when I was arrested for robbing a federal building when I was 16 years old. It's an interesting story. I know that when you see my face, you see this very innocent looking, nice looking guy who always talks about positivity and, all these great things. But there was a time, many moons, where I wasn't so charming, I guess you would say. I mean, there were certain things which I'll give you a brief, because through this story time thing, I'm going to give you a brief up to this date in the point, because I don't really want to go through too much of all the stories, because there's a ton of them, but I'm going to go through the major ones. This is one of the major ones, and pretty much leading up to this point through my high school years is kind of when actually at the very end of my middle school years, I kind of started getting into crazy stuff, and I started being a rough kid. I started, selling drugs, stealing stuff, just all kinds of crazy different things, stealing cars, just whatever, getting in fights, rolling with large groups of guys. I never was in a gang, but I did roll with people who were in gangs, and I did see a lot of crazy things. I've done a lot of things. I've never hurt women, I've never hurt children, so that's not on my thing. I never was that kind of criminal. I was just your average hustling, grinding guy trying to make money, in a weird way at a young age, because my mom moved us into an area, and she moved us on the outside, usually into the apartments, where we were right on the line, like where I grew up most of my time. And actually where I was living when all this happened was like I was like a mile from the rich area, which is right in the area to which is Awatuki, which was kind of where so I went to school. My mom moved us just close enough to where I could go to school, but the closest place to me is actually Guadalupe, which is like this ghetto little town right across the way. I mean, it's a little Indian reservation town, but I was like a little spot. I used to go there. Actually, when I was on probation for this that I'm going to talk about, my probation was actually in Guadalupe. That's where I used to check in at. It was at the Guadalupe courthouse. I used to go see my probation officer, and it's interesting. But really, I just did a lot of crazy different things, and my family didn't think I was going to make it to 18. And when you hear the story today, you'll understand why. So, we'll get started. Basically, it's crazy. I believe this was like right around Valentine's Day at that time. And basically, I was hanging out with a couple buddies. Not really going to give you guys names. We'll give them names, but they're not going to have the names of who I was with. I was with a guy named Chris, Paul, and Larry. We'll say those guys would be the game. I do know a Larry, but definitely not that Larry, if anyone's listening that knows me. But basically, what happened was we're sitting there. We had some beer. We're sitting around the pool. Two of the guys were, older. I came from, my mom moved us from Washington to Arizona, and I only saw my dad 2 times a year at that time. At this point, because this was right after I gotten out of rehab and I kind of went back, my dad kind of was done with me at this point. He didn't really want to deal with what I was doing at the time, and kind of waited for me to reach back out when I was ready for a dad again. So I kind of went back to my older guys, and that's kind of where I was with these guys. They were my way of looking up to people, and I didn't really have people to look up to, so these were who I looked at as, okay, I want to be kind of like these guys. I'm going to listen to what they have to say. And anyway, so we're drinking, and the cops come. And I'll tell you something right now, guys. If you ever get in the night and you get, away, and the cops come and you're planning on doing something dumb. We weren't even planning on doing it at this point, but I'll tell you more of this story. But basically, the cops come, right? And they don't get anyone in trouble. They just tell the guys that are with the beer, take the beer and go to your house. And then me and my other friend who were underage, they took us back to my mom's house, because I told them that they were staying at my house. And, the cops were being really cool, because we were on private property and I lived there probably. I don't really know all of it, but got very lucky. But obviously, this is where I was asking for trouble. And, I don't ask that when I tell you this story, because it's pretty heartbreaking what happened to me. But, I feel bad, but also realize I did ask for this. So, I go back out, and me and my friend, we go back and we meet up at my friend's houses, and basically they're drinking, and we're like, all right, cool, this is awesome. So we start drinking again. We're going back to the same old thing, and we go over, and we're like right behind where we were at. There were like these townhouses, and behind it there was like this like giant facility. They had like helicopters and all kinds of crazy stuff. So we hop this wall, and we're like in this alley, and then we, all of a sudden, he pulls out bolt cutters, and I'm like, okay. So I don't think anything because I'm drunk, and I see a bench, and I'm thinking these guys are just crazy, and we're gonna go drink at this bench. So we get in there, and we sit down at this bench, and we're sitting there drinking, and keep going, everything's good. And one of the older dudes starts kicking in the air conditioning shaft on this little air thing that was popping out the side of the building. I'm like, and it was pretty big. So I'm like, okay, it's kind of weird. So, but we're drinking. All of a sudden, he pops in. You hear a big noise, and then he pops back out. And he's like, all right, I got in. So I'm like, okay. And we sit outside. I don't remember the whole of how it all worked out, but we kind of just all popped in. We all popped in, and you get in there, and there's just this giant warehouse of crazy things. There's like a video camera set up with like a crash scene where it looked like they were sending crash cars down. There's just looked like a giant facility of just testing different things. Like you get back into this hallway, and there's like a pharmaceutical area. It looked like there's like a bed and like a thing with like looked like medicine in the cabinet. I didn't really get a chance. I'll get back to that room in a second because it has a skylight. But basically, and the other guys, they see this room. The guy right away, one of them grabs a video camera and just jumps right. He's like, I'm going out, taking this back because it's probably worth like 25 grand. It was a really nice video camera. And so the other guy grabs, the other two guys and me grab this big metal thing, and there's like this stairway down into this thing, and we battering ram the door open, and it's pretty intense. So we start going down there, battering ram the door. We see this giant thing of like a cabinet just full of ammunition, all different kinds of calibers, from 22s to 223s to all the way up to 50 cal. The big ones. And I'm not talking like just 50 caliber handgun bullets. I'm talking 50 caliber rifle. Long. They look like mini missiles. So and then you look back and you see this giant laser. Because on the door it said laser. It looked like this giant laser was propped up on this thing and pointed towards this wall. So I'm just like, okay, we're in some crazy shit. So I go back upstairs and I'm looking around. I actually find the guns in the security office. As I'm going back, I figure I'll check into the pharmaceutical area, and I find this little electronical thing and look up, and I see this light go through the top of that skylight, like I was telling you back in that thing earlier. So basically, I go back, I look out the side window, I see cops, like 3 of them with lights. And I go back out the front, I look in the front, and there's like 10 cars out front. And I'm like, oh shit, we're surrounded. So I yell cops back at the guys. One of the guys is already gone. He had actually tried to call me, but my phone had died. I wonder what he's calling me about. So we get back, me and my friend immediately just run out the door. The other guy comes up with like a 40 caliber, 40, like a 5-gallon thing full of, liquid nitrogen inside of like a bucket. But he goes out after us. Me and my friend go out first, and he goes over this. But we had cut the fence we had cut through. Actually was a razor wire fence, but the cops were actually at the hole that we had cut through. So one of my friends hops over the fence. He gets over these, kind of like hits it, flips. He actually only had like cut his nose and a couple things. I'm the one who actually got torn to shreds. You can actually, like, if you look at my wrist right here and stuff, there's stuff in my armpit. But basically I jumped over this razor wire fence. I kind of just jumped up and like opened my arms like onto this thing, and like kind of like put myself, and then like flopped over, and I was hanging upside down for a minute, and like kind of thing. And like I had enough time, I guess, to get my pants back down, put them back on, and then like jump over this wall as I'm like bleeding profusely out of like my arms and my legs and everything. And so I'm just running, and as I get over into this neighborhood, I'm running, and I literally fall over in like this yard, and just because from like the blood loss, and just fall over, and these cops come and they cut off my clothes, and I'm bleeding, and they just pour hydrogen peroxide on my arms, wrap me up with gauze, and just leave me sitting there. And then basically I after that, it was crazy. I'm gonna skip a lot of that stuff, but yeah, I got arrested, booked in. I went to a jail. I was 16 years old. They stuck me in. I was in shock. I lost a lot of blood. After that, they took me to a hospital because they released me to my mom 4 hours later. And it was intense. I went to the hospital was probably the worst part after that, because what happened was they took me back, and all the cuts and stuff on my arms and my armpits, everything, they took all that gauze off, and it just opened up everything, and I was just bleeding. I bled through like 4 sheets. This is the first time I almost died. One of my minor close to death experiences, but I almost bled to death. They had to give me blood. And then basically instead of being able to treat me and give me anesthetic and stuff because I was drinking and everything, they actually had to take a shot to numb each one so they could stitch it. They wouldn't actually make me, on whatever, because I was drunk, but they stuck each shot, and I screamed, just in shrieks, mom outside the door, and it was just very intense. And basically, yeah, I got charged. I was on probation. I had a charge that happened after that they waited on this one because they were just looking at everything, but it actually kept me from getting off probation from that charge. And luckily I only got on until I was 18 years old and didn't get really into jail time, because I'd done good on the probation I was on due to that, and didn't really all stop at that. I had more stories which I'll tell you more later, but yeah, man, this is something I just want to get out there to people, because I know a lot of people. I've actually had a lot of friends who do stuff that's real crazy, and I just want to say, really think about what you do. Any simple crime that seems simple can end your life real quick. And I've been very lucky throughout my life. And I'll tell you more stories as we go, but this is the number one. But yeah, man, just tell you guys something to give you something to melt on. Just wanted to see how you guys marinated to this. Let me know feedbacks. Please subscribe, like, comment, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Yo, freestyle. T Green Man. Yo, we all take a chance. Sometimes you take that chance for your life to enhance, but then the people come and throw you down and take the stance. It ends in just a glance. You kissed, you couldn't enhance, and now we're going crazy now, man. I'm standing with my mind, I'm freestyling from my head. I feel like sometimes an angel came, rose me from the dead. I came here for my bread, I came here underfed, so I'm so hungry, going crazy, man. You know I am T Green Man. You need to understand, I've been through so much pain, the heart can hurt the gland. I felt my life stop, I felt my body drop. I felt like God came and turned off the alarm on my clock. And now I'm on the dock, I'm growing like a stock. I keep on throwing out at the game like Tupac. You know the game, a name is building fame the same. I feel the way the shame came. Now I'm here to take the vein and clean it like a stain. I'm going hard in my mind to build this mainframe. I ain't pointing blame. Check me out, T Green Man. Thank you.